What's going on, guys? It's Sam, Kabobo, or Colvino here. You can call me whatever you want. And in today's video, I want to talk about something that's rather dire in the gaming situation, at least for me. And that is the state of the Call of Duty franchise. So with the release of Infinite Warfare, Call of Duty has reached a whole new low. And that's kind of hard for Call of Duty because this franchise has been a joke for years. While I may be the minority in this case, people have dropped this franchise a long time ago. And for good reasons. This game has really lost its identity. If we venture back to the year 2003, Call of Duty released a World War II game that was meant to honor the soldiers who fought in World War II as like a great calling. And now it's turned into dabbing, supply drops, all this other bullshit that we don't give a shit about. And obviously they couldn't do the same thing with the calling to the soldiers over and over again, so when they released Call of Duty 4, which was a modern shooter, it broke ground. They were just like, because at the time, it's the same situation that we're having now, where the future games are just oversaturated and no one cares about it anymore. It was the same thing back then with World War II. There was World War II shooters left and right ever since the release of Call of Duty, and people were getting sick of them. And so Infinity Ward thought, we should make a modern shooter. Now, Activision being Activision, this didn't fly with them, because at the time the most profitable games were the shooters in World War II. So that's actually why World at War was made the year after Call of Duty 4, because it was meant to be like a savior if COD 4 was a flop. And it turns out Call of Duty 4, probably the most liked game in the franchise by a landslide. While World at War was still a good game, at least in my opinion, COD 4 is so much better than it. Because pretty much World at War was just COD 4, but with a World War II reskin and tanks, and also zombies, which, you know, I love. While COD 4 was very renovative at the time, adding in create a class, perk system, creating this whole new multiplayer where companies tried to be exactly like Call of Duty. To me, the most renovative COD has to be Modern Warfare 2. And this is every single game since Modern Warfare 2 is pretty much Modern Warfare 2 adding on to the same formula that Modern Warfare 2 has prepared for us. Now, why is this relevant? Well, this is because ever since, I want to say, Advanced Warfare, they've strayed away from the games before Advanced Warfare have strived on simplicity and the easiness of the game to pick up and play. Most of these games had three-way paths and had a very simple movement. It was ground to ground, and it was very predictable, which made the game simple yet extremely fun. But when Advanced Warfare came out, they added the exosuits, which I thought at the time it would have been a really nice change, because obviously when you have too much ground-to-ground combat, things can get repetitive. So with these exosuits, they thought that they would break ground, but in reality, they ultimately fucked up the franchise for good when they added in supply drops, weapon variants, customizable characters to this extent. Now this is where Call of Duty lost its identity for authenticity. If you take a look at screenshots from Call of Duty 4 or World at War, they're very gritty games to Call of Duty standards. They were obviously made to look real and authentic and immersive. And some of my favorite things about these games were the sounds. They sounded really nice and authentic, especially World at War and Modern Warfare 2. Modern Warfare 2 especially. Like, it's a little thing, people really don't care about it that much, but it can really take you out of the experience if it's not done well. Like, in Modern Warfare 2, honestly think that game has the best sound in the Call of Duty franchise. From the gun sounds, explosions, to the multiplayer announcers. Those guys went insane. Like when an AC-130 came in, they were like, "Enemy AC-130 above!" And it was insane. It made you feel like, whoa, there's an AC-130 over there. We gotta get in cover, yo. And nowadays, the multiplayer announcers are just so fucking boring. Like, in Black Ops 2 especially. Like, in Black Ops 2, don't get me wrong, I like the game. But those multiplayer announcers are so boring. Like, when, like, if you were playing as the FBI, and there was, like, a K9 unit called in from the enemy, the guy would be like, "Enemy K9 unit inbound, watch out." And it was just like, okay, dude, who gives a shit? It's a K9 unit. Now, the final thing I want to talk about is, how can Call of Duty fix itself? How can it save itself from dying? And it's very simple. Just going back to the roots of what made the game great. Now, honestly, in my opinion, Sledgehammer, who's making the next Call of Duty, should just trim off all the extra fat that in these games. They should just make it bare bones and simple. That may not lead to, obviously, supply drops are going to be in it, guys. I mean, I'm sorry, it's a new thing, but if they're going to do them, make them cosmetic. Boots on the ground. None of this other extra bullshit. That they need to start from square one. Build up from the ground up. Start an entirely new thing and build off of that. Obviously, in the past they were great, but we can't keep following this same thing. And if it do, this game will die off faster than Titanfall, the first one did. Titanfall 2? Pretty good. Anyway, guys, that's going to be it for the video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. And goodbye.